With Senate Update, I'm Julie Bartkey. On the day that the governor is set to give his State of the State address, Senate and House Republicans presented a tax plan they believe helps most Minnesotans in a way the governor has not presented so far this session. The details were provided in a news conference on Thursday.
As I'm sure most of you know, the governor will be presenting his State of the State address this evening. And while that's all fine and good, we up here are a little bit more concerned with the state of the family budget than the state of the state budget. And that's the reason for this legislation. There's been an incredible increase in spending in this state compared to the budget of about 3 years ago. We are up about 25% under this governor and Democratic leadership in the Senate. And despite that, we took $2 billion, too much money in taxes. And so it's time to figure out a comprehensive plan and a way to give structural help to people to change not just a give back program. We don't want that. We want to change the system so that people have more money in their pockets. The legislation that we'll be bringing forward is easy and simple to understand. It is simply a 0.5 percentage point cut in every income tax bracket. And so it is not going to be effective in 2015. It will become effective January 1, 2016. And simply stated, if you pay income taxes in Minnesota, you will get a tax reduction. And that is the bottom line here. If we implement it in 2016, in the next biennium, it'll amount to about $1.1 billion. If you add that to some of the other programs that have been introduced to reduce taxes here in the Senate, you've got about $2 billion in tax reductions, which is approximately what we have for the surplus. This tax reduction will average to about $167 for an individual and about $524 for a married couple. It'll impact approximately 2.25 million tax filers in this state, not individuals, but tax filers, so that includes families, married people, and the like, and will provide significant relief and significant help for people to cover the expenses that they have in their families. And we believe that, you know, when we looked at a deficit, it had to be fixed, I guess, according to the Democrats, by raising taxes rather than reducing spending. Now that we're sitting on a surplus, it seems to me it would only make sense to provide relief to those folks who have paid the bill. And that's what this bill does. So, Senator Hann, if you want to say a few words, and then be happy to take questions.
Simply want to just reiterate one of the points that Senator Thompson made. We are concerned about trying to make Minnesota an attractive place to live. One of those things is to make sure our tax structure is appropriate. We have over-collected from the public in the last couple of years with our increases in taxation, and it is time we try to address that problem rather than simply adding to more spending. We've seen a very dramatic increase in spending from the Democrat majority and from the governor, 25%. Since Governor Dayton took office, 25% increase in spending. That is excessive, it is outrageous. And rather than take the surplus and just spend more money, we got to return it to the people who paid the taxes. There have been a lot of, there's been polling that talks about how Minnesotans believe that we have too much money, that we should return it, and we should return it in a way that is proportional to people who paid it. It was mentioned that this is a part of an overall tax approach that we've taken in the Senate, $1.1 billion for this particular bill, another $500 million for the toddler tax credit, $48 million for the excluding the veterans, the avoidance of taxation on military pensions, and then the Retire in Minnesota Act, Senator Senjum's bill that is scalable but currently priced at about $122 million. So in total, almost $2 billion in tax relief targeted to making sure that the family budgets are given the priority, not just the state budget. Representative, do you have anything you want to add? You're the author in the House, correct?
I am. I appreciate Senator Thompson bringing this bill forward, and I'm happy to sign on to it. And my business experience, I've worked with people and their family budgets and recognize the importance that the expenses in people's budgets is a big deal to them, and Minnesotans expect their government to be fiscally responsible as they are in their budgets, and I think this bill does that.
Any questions?
So how do you equate this to a family budget? It's like sitting around the kitchen table and saying what?
Well, I think it's very simple, and that is that it is going to put money back in people's pockets, and that is everybody. As I indicated, if you pay taxes in this state, you will get tax relief. And we know that taxes have gone up pretty dramatically We know that taxes are a big expense for people in their family, and now they will have less taxes to pay if this legislation becomes law.
No offense to the representative, but have you run this by the people higher up the food chain in your caucus?
He didn't take offense, but I did, but that's all right.
I appreciate the question. Yes, I've talked to our leadership and I've talked to Chair Davids, and we're putting together our overall package in the House as well. And we've got balanced government now, and we're going to let all the ideas come to the top and have the best ideas that are balanced. And I support this approach, and I think it's time to help Minnesota families.
And your argument to them as to why they should choose this path for tax cuts rather than some others that they're kicking?
Well, we'll have those discussions, and we're looking to roll that out in the coming weeks.
Anybody else?
Is this, you said it doesn't kick in for this tax year, it kicks in for next tax year. Is there anything in here that any trigger if things would go south in an upcoming forecast that this would be delayed even further or would blink off entirely?
No, there is no provision for it to blink off, and I would not want to see that. Number one, my belief is that I understand that the way we do budgeting here at the state, we can't factor in increased economic activity, but I believe that these tax reductions would actually help with future budget issues because we're going to see increased economic activity, but it is really time that should we run into deficit problems in the future, that we manage those through tightening our belt and not taxing people more, given what we've just done over the last couple of years.
Have you asked for a hearing yet?
No, we've not asked for a hearing. We will. We will be. This bill will be introduced next session. Not next session, as in the upcoming Monday. And so we will certainly ask for a hearing and hope that they're willing to take a look at it.